So unless you've been living under a rock, you've probably heard of a little game called Fortnite. And right now it's probably the biggest game in the world, and one of the most appealing parts of Fortnite isn't just the gameplay, it's the emotes, it's the dances, the animations that you can earn or buy, and it's just driving people nuts. You'll see kids in the grocery store flossing because they saw it in Fortnite. And to me that really speaks to the power of truly good, polished animation, and man, the ones in Fortnite are exceptional. They really are. And so I thought it'd be fun to take one of those great animations and break it down and recreate it from scratch. Layer it up the way that I'm sure they are at Epic and show you how an animator thinks through the process of taking basic poses and building it into something that, well, makes people buy stuff. So when I start animating, the first thing I do is I do what's called blocking. And blocking is just getting the very most basic of poses, nothing tying them together, no smoothness, just literally popping from pose to pose to pose. And the reason you do that is you want to really find the essence of your animation without worrying about all the connecting pieces or even the timing of it. And that's really important because when you get a really complicated animation, it could be overwhelming if you don't figure out ways to break it down to its most basic pieces. So blocking is, for me, super, super important. Now after blocking, you go to blocking plus. Blocking plus is essentially your blocking plus breakdowns. Breakdowns are the keys you put in between those major keys that you have. So if you were doing this with a drawing, you'd have the drawing here and the drawing here. And then to communicate that timing, you might put a drawing here. So things start to smooth out. You start to get more of a sense of weight and speed. And you do that between all your keys, and you add as many breakdowns as you need to start to communicate more of what you're going for. And some of that might change. You might have figured something out when you're doing your blocking plus that changes what you wanted to do with your blocking. And that's okay. It's okay to make those changes. So for instance, with this animation, you'll notice that I've started adding some bend to the arms now as we're moving on in the blocking plus. Not something that I started with because the actual Fortnite animation doesn't actually have a lot of bow in the arm when it's going back and forth. It stays pretty stiff, which is more realistic, but I've got a character with kind of bendy hose arms and I think it's fun to have it bend. My prerogative as an animator is I can do that, and that's fine. So this guy, he's got a lot more flop to his body. Still got the head pretty stiff. And as I'm moving forward and I'm starting to move into the splines, I'm having even more breakdowns. Now, I should explain splines. Splines in 3D animation is when you've let the computer basically take a guess at what's between your keyframes, your key poses. The computer is going to try and do a perfect job of moving between one thing and another, and usually that's a straight line, not what you want. The breakdowns can help add curves to things. If you have a fist going from here to here, it's probably not going to go in a straight line. It's probably going to have like a swing to it or something. And your breakdown can help with that. Start with a key, come to here, and then to here. And when you go to splines, the computer's going to try and guess the frames between here, here, and here. Sometimes it's exactly what you want, sometimes it's not. But it's that first time that you're seeing things smoothed out. Because up to this point, we've just been pop, pop, pop. And that's fine when you're trying to work through things, but eventually you've got to fill in the blanks. And that's, for me, usually the worst, most painful part of animation, because when I've got my key poses in there and I'm just popping between those, it's starting to feel pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. And then as soon as I push that button and let the computer fill in the blanks, it just kind of all goes to crap. And then you gotta start over, at least that's how it feels. But in this, once I've got my splines going, I realized that there's some changes I want to make. I wanted to add a little more movement to the head. I wanted to relax that. I wanted to add even more bend to his arms and wrists, a little more to his body, and just start to really loosen things up and add all the appeal that makes an animation that's really simple, really fun. And these are all things that if you look through all the Fortnite dances, you'll find. Now, this particular floss is, like I said, it's a little stiffer than what you could do because it's more realistic. But a lot of the other dances, there's all these arcs and flow and great timing that have taken the real dance, then just enhanced it a bit and made it just a little bit more fun, a little more fluid, a little more animated. And for this final pass, where I've finished polishing up my splines, I've gone ahead and I've added a little personality to his head and his expression while he's still flossing. Just fun stuff that there's no reason to just copy something exactly. It just makes it a little bit more fun. So hopefully this gives you a little window into how these Fortnite dances are being made and where all of that appeal comes from and why you keep spending money on it. If you enjoyed this video and are curious to see more Fortnite animations or other animations, go ahead, like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. If you really want to see more behind the scenes and see it earlier, go ahead and support me on Patreon. That would be awesome. Hopefully this gives you more of an appreciation for the animation process and the hard work that the people at Epic are putting into making Fortnite so gorgeous. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Enjoy.